continue our discussion about the Quran verses. We are joined by Dr. Said Kish.
To obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala command and to follow upon the advice of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to learn and teach the Quran. وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا.
أَلَمْ يَأْتِكُمْ رُسُلٌ مِّنكُمْ يَتْلُونَ عَلَيْكُمْ آيَاتِ رَبِّكُمْ. السلام عليكم يا أحمد.
وعليكم السلام.
كيف حالك اليوم؟
أنا بخير الحمد لله.
Last time you have discussed with us Surah Abasa, and today inshallah we need to discuss Surah Al-Nazi'at, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described one of the story of the Prophet Musa. So can you tell us how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved the Prophet Musa while he was young?
During the time Prophet Musa was born, Fir'aun was slaughtering infants, and Allah told Musa's mother to put him in a box in the ocean. Musa landed on Fir'aun's palace, and then
the palace was, in front of it there was a beach of the sea. What happened at that time?
Fir'aun's wife picked up Musa, and she was unable to have any kids, so she took care of Musa.
Right. So this is the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so Fir'aun won't slaughter him, but Fir'aun's wife told him that we can take him as a son, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Fir'aun's wife was unable to have kids.
Fascinating. When he grew up, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Fir'aun, what Allah says in the surah?
He said,
This is a screen, ya Ahmed?
yeah.
Okay, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Musa grew up in the house or the palace of Fir'aun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send Musa to Fir'aun. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Musa to call Fir'aun to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What Allah says here?
He says, he says in ayat number
number 17, ya Ahmed, here, izhab, right?
He says in ayat number 17, اذهب إلهنا إنه طغى. Go to Fir'aun as he has transgressed.
Great, exactly. And that's why when Musa went to Fir'aun, he showed him al-ayat al-kubra, the miracle. What was the miracle of the Prophet Musa?
When he split the ocean.
Was what?
A stick.
Okay, so his miracle was a stick, was al-asa. What was the reaction of Fir'aun? Did Fir'aun follow him?
No.
What Allah says in the surah?
He says, فكذب وعصى. He denied and disobeyed.
Fascinating. And even he said, till the extent that he said what?
فقالوا إنه ربكم الأعلى.
فقال أنا ربكم الأعلى.
فقال أنا ربكم الأعلى.
So what does it mean?
It means I am your Lord, I am most high.
Exactly. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished Fir'aun.
He made him an example, and he closed the ocean on him.
Fascinating. That's why Allah says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us this story for what?
to know not to never
What Allah says,
or imitate Allah.
Allah Ta'ala tells this story in the Quran. What Allah says in the Surah. Ayah number 26.
He says, إن في ذلك لعبرة لمن يخشى.
Means,
And he says, this is a lesson for whoever stands in the way of Allah.
so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us this story so we can get the lesson from it and apply it into the life, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Also in the surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِذَا جَاءَتِ الطَّامَّةُ الْكُبْرَى. What does الطَّامَّةُ الْكُبْرَى mean?
It means
Mhm.
it means the day of judgment.
Why Allah call it الطَّامَّةُ الْكُبْرَى?
Because on that day everything will be broken and destroyed.
Right? That's why. Everything will be destroyed. Even what will happen to the mountain, what will happen to the ground.
The mountains will be removed and the ground will have earthquakes.
What will happen to al-insan, the people? After all,
The people
will die.
the people will die and then get resurrected.
Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will resurrect all people on the day of resurrection from Adam up to the last one in this world?
So that people can
be
remember what they did.
okay, so gain their reward or their punishment according to what they did in this life, right?
Yeah.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will weigh up the good and bad deeds for everyone, right?
Yeah.
People will be divided into two groups. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the surah.
فأما من طغى, for those who transgressed.
وآثر الحياة الدنيا. He loves this world. What about the consequence? What is the punishment? What is the result?
Jahannam.
Which is what Allah says here.
فإن الجحيم هي المأوى.
Jahim means
the Jahannam.
Okay, what about the second group of people? What will their reward?
فإنه جنة هي المأوى.
What does al-Jannah mean? Al-Jannah mean?
Jannah, the paradise.
Okay, who will go to Al-Jannah on the day of resurrection? What Allah says in this surah?
وأما
من خاف
وأما من ألقاف مقام
ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى. So who will be good?
ونهى النفس عن الهوى.
Again, ya Ahmed. What about the second group of people? What will be their reward?
فإن الجنة هي المأوى.
What does al-Jannah mean?
The paradise.
Who will go into paradise in the day of resurrection according to this surah? What Allah says?
وأما من خاف مقام ربه.
What does it mean وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ?
The people who were
fear Allah.
in amusement.
The people who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right?
Yeah.
Also Allah talks about here about the sa'a. What does the sa'a to mean here in the surah?
The time.
The time. Sa'a in Arabic means the watch. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked, "Oh Muhammad," they will ask you about the time. Which time the people ask him about?
The day of judgment.
So who knows the day of judgment? What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the Prophet Muhammad when they ask him about the time of judgment?
فأما إن.
Who only know the unseen, al-ghayb.
إلى ربك
منتهاها.
منتهاها.
Who only know the unseen.
إلى ربك منتهاها.
Excellent, which means that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who knows the unseen things. Okay, Ahmed. Now Allah says, كأنهم يوم يرون, when people see the day of judgment, as if they live, the whole world, they live as if they live for an hour or 2 hours. Okay, Ahmed, before we go, can you apply types of mad on the surah? For example, what kind of mad here in ayah number 34? We have two types of mad. What are they?
The first one, فإذا جاءت الطامة الكبرى.
So what kind of mad here?
The ja is muttasil and the ta is obligatory.
So why it's called muttasil and why that's obligatory? What is the sign of it?
It's obligatory because it has a shadda following and not a hamza.
Excellent.
And it's muttasil because the hamza is in a separate word.
Okay, can we have, what about ma'uha? What kind of mad here? متصل ومنفصل.
متصل.
Excellent. Okay, do you have any type of mad here? Other type of mad here with a munfasil, for example? What about number 45? What is this ayah? Is it muttasil or munfasil?
It's muttasil.
No, this is not muttasil. This is like munfasil, separated. Why do we call it separated?
Because the alif and the hamza is in separate words.
Fascinating, yeah, Dr. Ahmed. Inshallah, next time you will memorize all of Surah Al-Nazi'at together, inshallah. Okay?
Inshallah.
نفع الله بكم الإسلام والمسلمين في رعاية الله وأمنه. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Rihlatal-Quran Academy, your Quran and Arabic journey starts here. To learn Arabic, recite the Holy Quran and be knowledgeable about Islam, just join Rihlatal-Quran Academy. Visit our site rihlatalqurani.com and follow us on social media sites YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, and Quai. Rihlatal-Quran, your Quran and Arabic journey starts here.